One of the biggest problems that students have while studying is mind wandering or daydreaming. So how do you deal with this? That's what this video is all about. Now, when it comes to avoiding distractions while studying, you have to deal with two kinds of distractions. Number one is the external distractions, and number two is the internal distractions. External distractions are things such as, your phone, your notifications and stuff like that. And internal distractions are things such as your mind wandering and daydreaming and thinking. To deal with the external distractions, I already have one video and you can watch it here where I talk about 9 controversial techniques of how you can manage distractions while studying. In this video, we'll be focusing on the internal distractions such as the mind wandering or daydreaming. First of all, you need to realize that this is a very common issue. If you're having this problem and you're thinking that, I am the only person on the planet who has this problem, well, you are wrong, because almost every student has this. Now, there are two aspects to this. Number one is how do you deal with mind wandering? And number two, how do you stop mind wandering? Now, if you learn how to deal with mind wandering and if you apply these techniques, slowly you'll be able to stop mind wandering. So let's focus on how we deal with mind wandering. Number one is read out loud. Now, when you are studying and suddenly you realize that your mind has wandered, the moment you realize that your mind has wandered, you just come back to the textbook and read the next paragraph out loud, only the next paragraph out loud. And after that, you can continue in the way that you normally do. And again, after some time, again, your mind wanders. The moment you realize the mind wanders, you bring it back to the textbook and read the next paragraph out loud. Now, the first time you use this technique, it's very likely that your mind has wandered maybe 10 times in 1 hour. It's perfectly okay. But every time you do this, you're training your brain. And what happens is, in the next session, maybe you only have 9 mind wandering experiences. And after that, it'll be 7, it'll be 5, and slowly you will reduce the number of times your mind wanders. So definitely give this a try. Technique number 2 is don't engage with your thoughts. Park them somewhere. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, it's very normal that when you are studying something, suddenly you'll get this random thought that has nothing to do with what you're studying. It happens a lot. So many times what happens is when you get these thoughts, people start engaging with them. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you are studying and you get this thought that I want to check how many comments I've got on my latest Instagram post. So what do? People engage with that thought, and by that, they'll actually go to Instagram and they will go and check how many comments they have. And what just happened is, just because you went out of the study session, it's very, very difficult to come back, because once you go to Instagram or any of the social medias, it's very difficult to come back because there's so many other notifications that will attract your attention. So instead of engaging, what could you have done differently is to have a piece of paper by the side of your study table, and the moment you have this thought that I want to check my Instagram comments, so write down on the piece of paper that Instagram comments. That's it. So what you're doing is you are parking this thought on a piece of paper and you're not engaging with that thought. Again, come back to studying and use the first technique, and that is the next paragraph read out loud, and then just keep on going. And again, after like 5 minutes or 10 minutes later, you'll have another thing. This time it could be a different kind of thought, and maybe something such as, what's my schedule for this Friday? Now, when you have this thought, again, most people, they engage with that thought. They go to the calendar and they check what's the schedule for Friday. Now, you don't do that. You just park that thought. You write down on a piece of paper Friday's schedule, and then get back to studying and read the next paragraph out loud. So what you're doing is you are helping yourself not to get distracted and engage with the thoughts. At the same time, you're collecting all these thoughts. So what you can do is, the moment your study session is over, you can come back and you can deal with all these thoughts, and that is how you do it. Technique number 3, I call it as checkpoints. Now, all these distractions, all these mind wandering, daydreaming, they reduce the quality of your learning, because even though you did not engage with the thoughts, you park them down, but it still has done some damage. So the third technique actually helps you to undo that damage. And what do you mean by checkpoints? So if you look at your textbook is divided into different chapters, and each chapter has different sections, and each section has different subsections. Every time you finish one subsection, before you move on to the next subsection, always pause for a moment and ask yourself, what are the key ideas of the last subsection. That's a checkpoint, because with all the distractions, all this mind wandering, so there is a possibility that you might have missed some important things. So it's a way for you to ensure that nothing important is missed. So you might want to just quickly review it, or if you have the habit of highlighting some important things, you can actually look at the highlighted portion and you can just quickly review and only then go to the next subsection. Again, after subsection number 2, do the same thing with the subsection number 3, and during subsection number 2, if you have mind wandering, you will do the notepad and then you will read out loud. Now after you come to one section, before you go to the next section, do the same thing with the whole section. So that way you will actually undo the damage that has happened because of distractions, because of the mind wandering. So if you use these 3 techniques, what happens is slowly you will realize that your mind wandering is coming down, and eventually you will be able to stop mind wandering, and then you will have more focus in what you're studying. But please remember to combine these 3 techniques with the 9 techniques I shared in this video, and also I have another video where I talk about the study traps that students have, and the link is in the description or it's here, and watch that as well. So if you like this video, click on the like button and let me know in the comment section what you think about this, and subscribe to my channel and click on the bell notification. And more importantly, if you think this information will benefit someone from your friends or in your groups, please share it with them as well.